shut the music down a little bit here. Uh, all right. So welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us today.
Thank you
How's
for having
everything?
me. Doing really good. How about you?
Doing well, doing well. Just got back from Playa del Carmen with a group of realtors that went down there to get certified to do business in Mexico. So was pretty excited, pretty
Um,
informative week for everybody. So just coming off that high.
yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. So again, thanks a lot for stopping in today with us to have a little chat, a little business banter, talk to us
Mhm.
about you, your organization. So Jennifer is the founder of Rise, so she'll tell us more about it. But first, tell us about Jennifer. Who is Jennifer?
Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Jennifer Solarte, and I am a mother, wife, business owner. I'm an author. I'm all things woo-woo, I like to say. So like I'm
Mhm.
the crystal girl, the one that's into Reiki and like, all the holistic holistic ways to heal and just to be. And I also um and in the process of training to do a weightlifting competition in December. That's something that people don't really know about me, and in the process of writing a second book right now too. So I have a lot of things going on my personal and also the business end too. But like, yeah, so that's just a little bit about me. Dog mom. We have a black pit bull. Her name is Midnight. That's my
Oh,
little fur
nice.
baby. I have three kids. We have a blended family. So my daughter's 18, and then I have two boys that are 11 and 12. So yeah, so all that and all those people and all those things keep me very busy.
Mm, very good. It sounds like you do have a busy time there, but you're doing great on everything. So thanks again for sharing that with us. So tell us a little bit about Enrise, your organization that you founded, a little bit about it and what was your inspiration behind it and how has your personal journey shaped the organization's mission?
Yeah. So it's and rise. So it's the ampersand and rise. And the ampersand means your story isn't over yet. There's more to tell. And then the rise means rising above any adversities that you've faced. So our mission is to empower women and girls to be the ultimate versions of themselves, no matter what adversities they face. So we do offer free mental health services and wraparound support. So we offer free counseling in Illinois. We do free support groups, and most of those are virtual. So we serve women all around the country and a little bit outside of the country. And then we also do financial education workshops bi-monthly, and then we do resume and mock interviewing help for people that need it. And then we do a ton of different events throughout the year. We have our educational events, which is like child support and custody workshops, order protection, because we work with a lot of domestic violence survivors. And then we have like our more fun women empowerment side of things. So we do our Galentine's brunch, where we always teach women every year on how to love their authentic selves. And then we do like Reiki and sound bath meditations throughout the year. We do journaling, retreats and things like that. So yeah, we do a lot of different events for women throughout the year. And then we also launched this year, 2024. We did two networking events that were for BIPOC women in
Mm.
Chicago, well, or Chicagoland, and they did very, very well. So that just shows me that women of color really want to, be in community with each other and grow together. So we're going to continue those next year too. So yeah, that's a
Very
little
good.
bit about And Rise. And a lot of the services that we have are based on my personal story. I went through childhood sexual abuse as well as domestic abuse, and I created a lot of services that I needed that I didn't get when I needed them, so that I went through financial abuse, which is why we provide financial education workshops, because, teaching women to become financially independent is very important to me. Especially if they've gone through financial abuse. And because we work with so many trauma survivors, a big portion of the women we work with really do go through that. And it can be extremely detrimental to your like financial health, obviously. And then also that really impacts your emotional and mental
Mhm.
health as well, right? Because I mean, if anyone's been very broke here, that's listening, like, that that really affects you. So that's why we offer that, and we offer career services because sometimes they're getting out of a relationship, or sometimes they just need to like move somewhere new and they need to like have a new resume, or like, maybe they haven't worked in a long time and they need to up their interviewing skills and things like that. So that's why we have that. And then we obviously have the mental health services because mental health is a really big thing when you're going through those things. And, we want to be able to provide women and girls the support that they need. That way they're able to talk about it in a safe space and then process it. And then hopefully they're working with like a mental health professional along with that. And then they can work on their healing. And then the more
Hmm.
you talk about it, the more you work through things, then the better it'll be for you. And then hopefully, our goal also is to help women like break these generational cycles that have been in their families for who knows how long, and just really teaching them about that. And yeah, I think we're doing some really good work. We've worked with over 10,000 women. We started in 2020, so we're making some big strides, considering that we're pretty new also. So yeah, that's a little bit about and rise and why. And it started also too, like I said, it's based on my story, but based on a lot of things that I needed. And um, I just really wanted to help women because I wasn't always the best version of myself either. I went through a lot of really rough times, and I used to lash out at people. I was really reactive. I was very angry, very negative, and like I was in self-sabotage and like victim mode for a
Hmm.
really big portion of my life. And I wasted a lot of my life just being mad at everyone and blaming everyone else and not always taking accountability for my part that I played in certain things. So that really helped me to go through that. And I really want to just help women go through the same thing and then so they can be the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, and thanks again for sharing that part of your story and how that your organization came to be. I mean, that's pretty amazing that you're really putting to life the needs that you had and paying it forward, giving it to others so they can have access to it. So kudos to you on that side.
Thank you.
You talked about empowering survivors. Uh,
Mhm.
can you share a particular memorable story of a survivor who found healing and empowerment through End Rise, and what impact did it have on you?
Yeah, there's so many. There's so many stories. But there is one that sticks out to me in particular. She still comes once in a while to our support group. So she's been around for like 2, 3 years now. She doesn't come consistently, but she comes once in a while and she needs her support. But she went through a lot of domestic violence as a kid, and it was something that was just never addressed in her family. It was something that happened and nobody ever talked about it. And so as she started coming to our support group, she started becoming more like vulnerable with the group and talking about the things that had happened to her and how it affected her now that she's an adult. And then she was able to start talking to her family about it. So like her parents, the ones that were in, also the domestic violence cycle and doing the domestic abuse, and then they all were able to eventually go into group therapy as a family, like her brother and her parents. And I thought that was like the coolest story ever, because I was like, not only did we impact this woman but her family, and then who knows beyond that, and I just
Hmm.
thought that that was so cool. She had told me about that last year, and because I hadn't talked to her in a while, and she was like really excited to go to therapy with her family and start working through those things. And I told her that's a really big win too, because a lot of times when families know that that's an issue, they don't want to deal with it, or they don't want to
Yep.
admit that, right, they're doing the harm. The fact that her parents admitted that, yes, we have been doing this for a long time and we want to go get help too. I just thought that that was like so cool. And I won't take all the credit for it. I'll take just a little chunk of credit because she did all that work, not me, you know.
Hmm.
But it's just really cool to see kind of that domino effect. And also since we're working with teen girls now too, a lot of the teen girls that come, their mothers are in our support groups as well. So seeing like the moms bring their daughters in, and then the daughters start breaking those cycles too and start, working on themselves. I just think it's such a cool and beautiful thing, and it's just a cool way that you can heal, but then you can heal with your child, which I think is so awesome.
Yeah. No, and that the story that you mentioned and the step, I think it's step number one, and in other things are where abuse, like alcohol abuse, or when somebody is substance abuse, the first
Mhm.
part of it is, they always say, acceptance, right? It has to be,
Yeah,
you have to first be
admitting.
accountable for your actions. The only way you
Hmm.
can change is that you first have to accept that you're in a not desired state and you
Yeah.
want to turn that around. So
And
yeah.
it's really hard to admit that sometimes because, right, like there's a lot of us that are prideful, our ego takes over and things like that. But, that's the one of the really hard steps, but once you get past that, then you're like, okay, what else can I do? So,
Exactly. Nice. And you also, through the first point where you were talking about your organization, um, about the workshops that you talk about identifying red flags. So, in your workshops, you emphasize that importance of recognizing red flags in
mhm.
relationships. What are some common red flags that women often overlook, and how can they better protect themselves?
Oh gosh, so many, so many. And actually, this came up last night too. So I always say that sometimes people who are unhealthy will sometimes tell you, they will tell on themselves, but sometimes we get infatuated or we're like, they're so cute or they're so this or they're so that. So we tend to overlook. But like, so somebody was talking about this last night and the guy had told her like, yeah, I'm not a very nice guy, or I don't really like open up. And and I'm like, he's trying to tell you he's telling you right now that he's not going to be able to give you what you want. But because sometimes I think women, we think we can change men, and that's not our job too. I think we think that it's our job to change people and to fix them, and it is absolutely not our job. It's people's jobs to fix themselves. Some other common things are, obviously lying, right? Finding out if they're lying in the beginning, and is a huge red flag. If they're lying in the beginning about something small, then imagine when something big, happens in the future. Um, I think another big red flag that a lot of people miss is the guys that say that they're living at home with their ex, but they're not together. Like that happens all the time, and they're like, he's not together, and I'm like, oh, come on, But like, I get it because I've been in that situation. I've been the girl that believed all the lies, So I also get it from like a trauma perspective of it. But now that I'm on the other side, I'm like, no, So that's why I like to teach women about these things. So I think it's so important. What else? I can't think of anything else. There's probably so many, but I can't think of them off the top of my head right now. But I think the most important part too that I teach people is like, how do you feel? Like sometimes too, we're also not taught to to feel like what our body's trying to tell us. So that kind of like that pit of your stomach when you like feel like
Mhm.
you're going down a roller coaster, something feels weird, but we don't really always listen to that. So sometimes when people tell us things or do something, we get that feeling in our body because your body knows before your mind can even process it. But we don't always tend to listen to that. We tend to listen to like our mind because we think that's what's going to tell us the answers. So sometimes I always say, like, just listen to your body, and I'll listen to when the girls are talking and they'll be like, I froze or I like, I gasped or whatever. And I'm like, that's your body like warning you that there's something there. So, it's a big thing that we talk about a lot too is like feeling what your body's telling you. Sometimes our body is warning us before we even know, and listening to those warning signs,
Yeah.
that could be a really huge help.
I
um
think, yeah, as you mentioned, sometimes they overlook the obvious, but the thing is,
mhm.
if it's being told up front or you're being able to notice, is really don't doubt yourself, but trust your
Mhm.
inner
Trust your
inner voice, your
intuition.
inner feelings, definitely. So,
Yeah, if something feels off, it probably is. I
right.
always say that we don't get those feelings for no reason. That doesn't come out of nowhere. That's like your whatever you want to call it, God, your higher power, your intuition. That's it, giving you a nudge, like, hey, something's weird. Pay
Hmm.
attention, But we don't always listen to those things.
Yeah, true, true, true. So, and you mentioned the things that you do, being a trauma life coach and a Reiki master. How do you integrate holistic healing modalities like Reiki with traditional trauma recovery practices?
Yeah. So I haven't incorporated a ton into like it's more into the coaching part of it more than
Hmm.
like the other side. But definitely, I we can send Reiki, whether we could do it in person or we can send it like you know, like here, I could send you Reiki right now. Um, so I can do that with my clients and also just like incorporating it's also what they're comfortable with and what they want, and I know a lot of people really like Reiki because they say it does help like clear like the energy in them or make
Hmm.
them feel better, make them feel like less tired. It gives them energy, or everybody's experiences are different. But I think that's just like a great way. And it's also a great way to like teach people how to do it too. And to like just use the tools that we already have like within us, basically, and not having to always, and I'm not saying that prescription drugs aren't necessary for some people. I think they absolutely are, but I don't think most people, the way we're all on them right now, is necessary. I
Hmm.
think there's natural ways we can heal ourselves. So like, breathing is a huge thing. We don't really know how to breathe. Like a lot of times too, when we're going through hard things, we tend to hold our breath and we don't even realize that. So like
Yep.
teaching people how to breathe through things. I also do somatic experiencing, which teaches people how to breathe and move to release trauma from the body. And a lot of it is breathing and like just moving with your body and releasing some of that stuff. And it really, really helps a lot. So, and those are all things you don't need any special anything. You can use your own whatever you have right here. So that's the cool
Mm-hmm.
part about it. And I really think that those things really help people become more in tune with themselves, with their intuition, which then helps everything else, because then they start to listen to their body, then they start to listen to the intuition, those cues that we're getting that we're not taught to listen to, really. So yeah, that's how I incorporate it into what we do.
Very good. Nice. I mean, it's great to hear that, you have to kind of calm the outside world to be able to take of the
Mm-hmm.
inside world. So definitely great
Absolutely. Yeah.
exercises and opportunities there.
Mm-hmm.
And just going through the different workshops and the different empowerments that you work with your members or clients. How does NRISE address financial abuse, and what resources or programs do you offer survivors to achieve financial independence?
Yeah, so I've done quite a few videos that are up on our website. So like I call them vlogs, and then I've done blogs on it as well. I actually blogged about my personal story of going through financial abuse and how I was able to, be 100% debt free. So just to give you a little bit more background, I was a single mom, had to do it all on my own financially, never got, well, I won't say I didn't get a dime. I got about $150, no, maybe like $200 in the last 18 years of my daughter's life. So that it was really hard to do all that on my own. And then I was on top of that being financially abused. So like, I had boyfriends that would steal money literally out of my purse. And then I had other ones that would do it in a more subtle way where they would like not want to work, but make me pay all the bills and just things like that. And then that takes obviously a financial toll on you. So teaching people about those things. So there's a lot of people that don't never even heard the term financial abuse. I've had so many people like say, what does that actually mean? Or like, what does that look like? Or, and then when I tell them, they're like, oh my God, I've been going through this too, or this has been happening to me like the whole time I've been around. So like financial abuse can be, just for those who are listening who might not know, it can be somebody not allowing you to work, right? Even if you want to, or if you do work, taking your entire paycheck or taking your entire paycheck and not letting you have anything or giving you a really small allowance. It can be taking out credit cards or loans in your name without your permission, which obviously can ruin your credit, and then you
Hmm.
can't buy a house or do things that you need to with it. It can be just also too like maybe not allowing you to work but only giving you $10 allowance per month, which obviously is $10 isn't going to buy you a lot. So things like that. And I think a lot of the reasons why financial abuse happens is to keep the person where they're at so that they can't ever save up money, and there's no way for them to escape. And that's all, at the end of the day, abuse is all about power and control. How can I control you? How can I keep you under this control?
Hmm.
So how we address that at Andrise, we do the financial education workshops. And like I said, I have videos about, what I went through. I have blogs about how I got out of it. I think I took an untraditional route on like what I did, but it really helped a lot. So if anyone knows what a balance transfer is on a credit card, you get these like offers all the time for like 0% balance transfer. And the reason I was having such trouble getting out of credit card debt was because of the interest, right? And when you're paying the minimum payment, you're really just paying interest. You're not even paying down your
Yeah,
balance.
the principal.
And it
Hmm.
took me forever to figure that out. But I figured it out eventually. So then I started doing the credit card balance transfers to zero, right? So now I'm actually paying down the debt without paying any interest, and it helps just move the process along so much faster. And it did take me several years to get out of it, but I'm really happy that I did it because it just showed me like this is, like I never did that again. Now I barely use credit cards. I'm not saying that I do use them, but like very seldomly, only if I know that I have the money to pay it off right away. And I'm
Hmm.
like very just smart with my money now, and I know how to like invest and just different things. There's a lot of things that I've learned along the way. So, and that's something that I really care about teaching women too, is like not just getting out of debt and becoming like financially independent, but then how do you grow your money, right? Then how do you get into that state of wealth? That is something that's really important to me too, that I don't think a lot of us are also taught. And
Yeah.
definitely not learning this stuff in school. So,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
definitely. That's definitely one of the things that they should be teaching in
mm-hmm,
school, how to write.
absolutely.
Well, nowadays there's no hardly any check writing, but how to write a check,
Mm-hmm.
how to balance a checkbook, that's
Yeah,
should be taught
I
in
totally
school at
agree.
the different levels. So very good.
Yeah.
Now, you know, topics that you talk about, you mentioned a little bit about different cultures. You deal with BIPOC community, black and brown community, and of course
Mm-hmm.
white. But how do you approach conversations around trauma and abuse, especially in communities where stigma or cultural barriers might make it
Mm-hmm.
challenging to speak up?
Yeah. I talk about it a lot actually. Being a Hispanic woman too, I think that when I talk about it, people listen to me. Especially like Black and brown people, they listen to me, because if I was white, I don't think I think they'd shut me down and be like, you don't know what you're talking about. But yes, I'm very open about that, and I definitely talk to. I say this all the time. I'm very public about this. I've made videos about this. Like I am very open about like breaking those stigmas in the Black and brown communities around mental health. I grew up hearing only white people do that. They only want money. It doesn't work, and things like that. So I grew up thinking, oh, therapy doesn't work because only yeah, I'm white, and they only want money, and who would want to go with anyone that just wants money? And then I started counseling when I was in my mid 20s. That's when I first started. And I remember it being like, oh my God, this is so amazing. I feel so different. And was it hard? Yes, it was hard, but also like I felt really good about it. And then I was like, why did they tell me that? Why did they tell me that this doesn't work? Why did they tell me, so there's a lot of stigmas that like we should just be strong, right? Just that we're always taught that too. Like we just got to be strong. You just got to push through, or we don't need that. Our people don't need that. We read the Bible or we pray or whatever, And I'm like, don't get me wrong. I definitely think that there should be something that you lean on, a faith, right? But like the Bible doesn't talk about trauma informed care. The Bible doesn't talk about how to heal, like things that happen in our bodies. Like our bodies are affected by trauma. I don't know if you know this, but this is also something that's not really known, is that like the mind and body are one. So if your mental health is suffering, then your body's going to suffer, and vice versa, right? Think about when you're sick, right? When you're sick, you're like, I don't want to do it. I feel bad for myself. Oh, I like, life is bad, right? Same thing. So think about it like when you reverse the roles. So when we get sick or when we don't feel well physically, we go to the doctor. But when we're sad or depressed or we don't know what's going on, right? Like we just like, I don't know. I'll just deal with it. I'll just be strong. And it's like, no, there's something there. There's something that, and when things happen, like people sometimes get flashbacks of something happening. I always tell them that's a sign. That's a sign that that's something to be worked through. And they're like, oh, but I thought I worked through this already, or I don't want to work through this because this is really deep. And I'm
Hmm.
like, but it's going to keep coming up, and then unfortunately, when we suppress things, it gets stuck in our body. It really does. Trauma gets stored in your body. And then that's how, chronic pain starts happening, chronic illness, diabetes, like all types of chronic things are happening to your body because the body stores that stuff. Think about like, I don't know, like my friend used this as an example the other day, like dirty mop water. Think about like dirty mop water. Are you
Yeah.
gonna want to like keep dirty mop water inside of you all the time? Or are you gonna want to like clean that bucket out
Hmm.
for new, fresh, clean water? And I'm a visual learner, so when she said, I was like, I love that. But it's so true. So like I think it's important for our people to know that just because we're black and brown, like it doesn't mean like mental health isn't real. It really is, and it's very serious. And
Hmm.
and then also too, if we're not doing it properly, then you're just pushing that down on your kids, and then your kids aren't going to learn to deal with these things properly. But when you start taking those steps, then your kids are going to follow suit. And I can say that from personal experience. My daughter's seen me be like turn into this completely different person, and she always tells me like, you're so different, mom, than what you used to be, because I was very angry when she was a baby. Like when she was younger, I was just had so much stuff and stress and drama. And then, I've worked through a lot of stuff, and she's like, and we've always done better. You've always gotten like a better place. We lived in little like dungy, crappy apartments in the hood before, and they like worked our way up. And I was like, yeah, but like it really meant a lot to me to give you a better life, and keep doing better every time. And that's something that was really important to me. So anyway, just breaking
That's
those cycles for our kids, I think is so important, but just also normalizing. It's okay to talk to a professional. It's okay to struggle. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to
hmm
be sad and depressed because that means that something's there that needs to be acknowledged and
yeah.
dealt with. And a lot of the times people don't want to deal with these things. And I can speak for personal experience. I didn't want to delve into my sexual abuse. I didn't want to think about it or talk about it because it was like embarrassing and I had a lot of shame and guilt around it. And I was taught to be guilty and shamed about it, like shameful about it. And it just didn't do me any good, honestly. So once I started talking about it, I actually started feeling better. And now I'm very public about it. And I know that I'm meant to share my story because I know it's going to help other people. And I've had a lot of Latina women come up to me and say, "Oh my God, I went through the same thing." And it helps to see a woman that looks like me talk about these
Talk about
things.
it. Yeah.
And I know that I know that that's why I'm meant to do this work because I'm meant to help like not just Latina women, but like all Black and
In
brown
general.
people and like just normalize it. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the dirty water, and I guess it's a, I get, my next question was going to be about healthy coping skills, but I guess that would probably be a healthy coping skill. Looking at changing the water, but I look at it from different words, like cleansing. So typically, when people are gonna think about losing weight, first thing they do is they say, well, you start out with first a cleansing. Let's get rid of all the stuff you get in there, and then you start your changing just your eating habits a little bit. It's not that much of a, let's not call it a diet, but just a well balanced eating and making sure that you understand what's coming into your body and what can stay in your body. So
Yeah.
looking at that side of it. Any other healthy coping skills that or strategies that you recommend for survivors of that are navigating through depression or PTSD?
Yeah, I mean, definitely talking to a professional counselor, not a professional, licensed counselor, therapist. That's my first thing. That also support groups can be very helpful. I know the word support group freaks people out a lot, but there's always new girls that come into our groups and they always come in like freaked out and scared because they don't know what to expect. And then every time they leave, they're like, oh, it's like I really like this. Like just women coming together to support each other and not being judged about the things we're talking about because we've all been through it, so we get it. So a support group is great. Also, meditation is really great too. Physical exercise, whatever that might be. It could just be a walk, but it could be yoga, it could be
Mm,
running, whatever it is. I think that our bodies are meant to move around. They're not meant to be sitting in front of computers like a lot of us do now. We're not meant to be sedentary. We're just meant to be moving around and doing stuff. So I think that also helps a lot. I know for me, nature is extremely healing. When I need to like just get my life together, I go out and I try to find trees and grass and stuff. I'm in the city, so it's like, a little different. But if you're in the burbs, there's so much like, grass and things like that just to ground yourself, being one with the earth. And like, there's just so many things that I appreciate now that I've like healed so much. Like, before, whatever, you walk outside, no big deal. It's just stupid birds. They're annoying. Now I'm like, and the trees and the squirrels, there's all things that have been put here for us, but we're so busy with technology and on our phones and watching Netflix that we don't really step back to really appreciate the things that are here to like naturally cure us. So I find that to be extremely therapeutic when I just go out in nature. Um, what else did I said meditation and yoga. And mindfulness. So mindfulness is really, really important because it's teaching you to just be in the present moment,
mhm.
breathing, right? That's a big thing is breathing because we tend to hold our breath or we breathe really fast when we're anxious and things like that. So it just, when we're anxious, right, our heart starts to race, our mind is racing, we're breathing quickly. And then when we're doing mindfulness, it's teaching you to like just regulate your breathing, bring you back to like a normal state, right? Heart rate regular, breathing regular, and it just brings you back and it helps you feel like calm. So those are some of the things that I suggest. I think those things, and when you do them all together, then they really, really help,
It work even
but
better.
I also understand that when people haven't done any of these things, it can take time, right? Like so I say baby steps. So like if you've never meditated before, start with 2 minutes if you can. I
Hmm
mean, I always tell people to do a guided meditation. If you don't know how to do it on your own, do a guided one where they're walking you through the whole thing and then you just listening and doing what they're telling you to. Oh, and another big one too is affirmations. I listen to affirmations every single day, and I've been doing this probably for 8 months straight now. And it's absolutely changed the way that I view myself and talk to myself. I'm so much nicer to myself now. And that's because I listen daily, and I do it in the shower so every day when I have to take a shower, I listen there. So it doesn't take away from any of my time
Anytime.
doing anything else, or I do it when I'm getting ready. And that's it. And it's just your way of taking care of yourself each day. And like even the meditation, if it's 5 minutes in the morning, that's fine. But it's your way of taking care of yourself and showing yourself love for 5 minutes, even if it's just 5 minutes that day. That's 5 minutes you put aside to take care of you. And that's how the self-love goes in, and that's how the self-care starts to be more, and that just adds to all the healing.
I mean, I agree with you there. I was just talking to one of our coaches that was presented at the seminar last week, and when we talk about getting the realtor certified to do business in Mexico, we don't just talk about the knowledge and the how to, but we also talk about the mental health and the mindset. It's got to be there. It's got to be take care of yourself and understand yourself first, and have the mindset ready for that. So
Absolutely. Especially
completely.
as entrepreneurs, we're taught go, 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 work, 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 80 hours a week, who cares, money, money, money. And it's like, I've realized too that when you take breaks, you're better, right? Because you come back refreshed, and then you can come back with even better ideas so I rest a lot, and I have to because of the work that I do. I have to like
Hmm.
give myself the time to rest, but the rest is really important because then you rejuvenate, and then you can come back even stronger, as opposed to just being burnt out all the time and running on all the
Yeah,
time.
completely agree. So, we talked about at the beginning, you mentioned all the different roles that you have and all the things that you do, author, entrepreneur, trauma coach, mom, wife. How do you balance these roles while maintaining your own mental health and your
Yeah.
well-being?
I I I am not going to lie. Last year my word of 2023 was selfish. So I was like, I'm going to be selfish this year. I'm always putting everybody ahead of myself. And so I was like, I'm choosing myself all the time. And then I just kind of kept that. And so I take a lot of time for myself, and I'll tell my family, no, they all know what I do, right? So I'll tell them, hey, I need a break. Like I need you to leave me alone. I need like, an hour to be in my room by myself or something. And they're very understanding and supportive of like what I need, because they have their own stuff too. And sometimes they need an hour without me or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So like I have a really good support system behind me, honestly. So whatever I need, and there's a lot of times where I take little solo retreats by myself, like a Friday through Sunday, and just go somewhere alone just to be. Sometimes my house is always with people in it, so I'm like, I just need to be away from everyone and just like be by myself sometimes. And those little trips like really make a big difference with like my mental health. And that's just again my way of taking care of myself. And I don't just do that, but I do like, like I was at the Morton Arboretum the other day, like on Sunday with my friends, and that
Mm-hmm.
was just something I did for fun. And like I said, I love being in nature, so that helps. I forgot what I was saying. Take care of
Nice.
the
No,
self.
but that's good. Taking time for yourself. So that's when
Yeah.
we'll make sure that we do that as well. So
Yeah.
looking forward, what's next for you and Rice? Are there any upcoming projects, programs, or events that you're particularly excited about?
Yeah, so we're actually in the process of adding 2 new support groups because our groups are getting really big. So now we're going to offer 10 groups. So we're trying to survey our girls and see what kind of groups that they want us to add. And we're thinking about adding like additional like events as far as like either a journaling group or something like that. So we're still trying to like figure out what we're going to do with that. But yeah, and then next year, we had our big casino night gala like a couple weeks ago, and we've been
Hmm.
doing that every year. But I think next year we're gonna do like our big end of the year fundraiser. That's gonna not be a gala, but I want to do like a comedy show next year that I'm really excited about because I love stand-up comedy. That's what I do for fun. Me and my husband go to shows a lot. So I thought it would be really cool to have like another live entertainment type of fundraiser, but like something different. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, we have like just, more Reiki and sound bath meditations coming up next year and, different things like that. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Very good, very good. Now, you mentioned a lot of things, a lot of programs that Andrise does, and where's the funding come from? How should we get people to help with the organization? Because I'm assuming it's a non-for-profit organization. So
Yep.
how do you get your funding, and where can people look to if they want to participate and donate or participate in any of the events? How do they look up
Yeah.
information?
Yeah, so just keep in mind too, whenever you come to our events, like 100% of that money goes back to the free programs that we offer to the women and girls that we work with. So if anyone's interested in donating, you can donate on our website, www.womenrisechicago.org. And there's a donate button right on the home screen. As soon as you open it, you don't even have to scroll down, it's right there. And yeah, the majority of our funding comes from our fundraisers, our events, and donations. We get a little bit of grant funding, but not a lot, unfortunately, even though we've been trying a lot, we're still not getting a lot of luck in that area, but I foresee that changing soon, hopefully. And we also do experiences with corporations as well. So like we offer just different things that we can do with I don't know, with the corporation, and then they give us like a donation, like
Mhm.
depending on what the event is, but it can be like five to like $10,000, donations, which is great. And we have also multiple streams of income because we don't have all that grant funding. So I have to be very strategic in like how we're getting our funding, right? To be able to
Yeah.
pay the bills, because a lot of people think, oh, you're a nonprofit. Like that's it. That's like, no, a nonprofit is still a business. We still have to make money in order to stay afloat, just like any other business, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, so donations are really great. Just people coming to our events is very helpful. Purchasing our merch. We have really cute merch on our website. We have like stuff that we just created. It's really, really cute stuff. So, that you can support in a lot of different ways. And yeah, donating is really, really helpful. And I think too, like, um, just seeing like also too, like if you're Hispanic and seeing a Hispanic woman doing this, like it's really great to support, because there aren't a lot of Hispanic women doing this work in trauma or
Hmm.
mental health and stuff like that. So I think that it really helps. And the cool thing too is that we're starting to see a lot more Black and brown women come in. And that's something like I mentioned, is very important to me. Because when we started, it wasn't like that. It was just a lot of white women, which is great. They need help too. But I was like, I have to see more, like more of my people coming in here. So now we've been seeing a lot of that. So just supporting our community, so when you're supporting us, then you're supporting other people in your community too that are needing these services. And the cool thing what we do too is we are breaking a lot of barriers in areas where they don't have any services, right? So because we have
Yep.
all these virtual events, we're able to serve people in areas that don't have anything at all, and just making mental health services more accessible to everyone everywhere.
Correct.
Yeah.
I get, well, thank you much, and thank you for the information. So we'll be posting the video on YouTube and on LinkedIn as well. So we'll mention the website so people can visit your website, would make some donations and connect with you. So looking forward to it. Again, thank you for your time today. Keep up the good
Thank you.
work.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It
Thank
was
you.
fun.
All right.